When betrayal happens, whether it's emotional, physical, or even digital, it doesn't just break your heart. Unfortunately, it miswires your brain. This episode is brought to you by my HarperCollins published book, Mind Over Explicit Matter. If you've struggled with porn use or betrayal from a partner, this book can help you understand the brain behind it and help heal your situation. So go over to drtrishleigh.com/book. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. I'm glad you're back for another true story. This one is about how trust can be rebuilt, not through pretending whatever happened didn't happen, but instead by understanding what betrayal does to your nervous system and how, in fact, your brain can indeed find safety again. Today, let's talk about Sara's story, and it starts the very moment that everything changed for her. Sara thought they were doing fine. 15 years they were married. They had two beautiful children. What is probably the usual rhythm of life for most people. Busy schedules, shared routines, small arguments that never seemed to add up to much. It all felt normal, safe, predictable, until one night she picked up her husband's phone just to check the time. The screen lit up. It was a name she recognized, her best friend. And then the message appeared. I miss you. In that very instant, her entire body reacted before her mind could even process what she was seeing on the screen. A surge of electrical energy ripped through her entire body. It's the kind that only comes when your brain senses danger. I call them zingers because they literally zing through your entire body. Well, what she was experiencing was this. Her amygdala, the brain's alarm center, it fired like a gunshot, flooding her body with adrenaline, norepinephrine, and cortisol, the stress hormone. Her heart pounded out of her chest. Her chest tightened. Her vision became tunnel vision. Her hands shook, but she couldn't look away. This was a double hit of betrayal. It was a betrayal of love and one of friendship. Both of them included safety and belonging. If you've been betrayed like this or in a similar way, you know the sensation that goes through your whole body. It hijacks the survival system that is supposed to protect you. And when someone turns against you, that is someone that should be the most trusted, this survival system alarms. In neuroscience, we call this the collapse of the predictive model. It's the brain's internal map of what's safe, what's real, and who you can rely on. In this case, it was two people for Sara. But when the person that once represented comfort to you now represents the threat, that survival system goes off. That's why your mind races afterward, replaying the moments over and over and over, searching for clues that you missed. This isn't obsession, as some people may tell you. It's your brain desperately trying to rebuild the map of comfort that unfortunately no longer exists. Because when betrayal comes from a person, and especially two people that you love, the world doesn't just tilt. It feels like it's breaking in half. And your nervous system has a script for that: survival. In the weeks after the discovery, Sara couldn't sleep. Every single sound woke her up each night. Every time her husband left the room, her body braced like she was a soldier in a silent war, unfortunately. That's hypervigilance. It's the amygdala and the limbic system looping through threat detection, scanning for danger long after the moment has passed. Her prefrontal cortex, which is designed to regulate emotions and make rational decisions, it was being suppressed by chronic stress hormones. That's why she couldn't focus. Why logic? That is her trying to create this roadmap of logic. He said it's over. He's home now. He's in therapy. Logic couldn't calm her down. And this is why. You can't logic your way out of survival mode. You have to regulate your way out by rewiring that miswired survival system in the brain. That's what Sara began to learn slowly and painfully through daily nervous system regulation and brain training when she entered into my program. Every time Sara felt that urge, that pounding in her chest, that icy pressure behind her ribs, the heat rising behind her eyes, she stopped chasing explanations. Instead of asking why, she placed a hand over her heart and took a deep, deep breath, letting that exhale extend. She remembered the focus she'd practiced during brain training. She found that ball of light on the back of her forehead when she closed her eyes. It's like the aurora borealis lighting up in your mind. Honestly, it is now one of my favorite sensations. Each time her thoughts drifted toward panic, she gently brought them back to that light on the back of her forehead. In those moments, she was doing something profound, even though it might not have felt that way to her. The breath, the visual focus, the single act of awareness, each one quietly activated her vagus nerve and increased alpha coherence in her brain. This became a vital bridge between her mind and her body. It shifted her brain and her body, indeed, from sympathetic state, fight, flight, freeze, and instead now into more of a parasympathetic state, rest and relax. This is the state that healing can begin in. It can't begin in survival mode. So this isn't about forgiveness. This is about neuroscience, the deliberate retraining of her body's alarm system, something you can do too if you're struggling with betrayal. Over time, those micro moments of calm began to rewire her brain using the wonder of neuroplasticity. Each slow breath became a new neural signal. I can feel pain and still be safe. The more she practiced, the easier it became for her prefrontal cortex. That's the brain's reasoning and regulation center. Every time she practiced, it would stay online, even when the amygdala sounded the alarm. Her brain was learning to process threat without reliving it. It actually becomes a superpower once you master it. To stay present instead of spiraling. This is how healing truly happens, not with grand gestures or forced forgiveness, but instead with small, consistent acts of regulation in your own brain that build trust between your body and your mind. This is where healing starts. Thankfully, meanwhile, her husband wasn't immune to brain changes either. During his affair, his brain had been running strictly on dopamine surges. It's the same neural reward system that drives addiction. The secrecy, anticipation, and the novelty of it all lit up his ventral tegmental area and the nucleus accumbens. These are major areas in the brain's reward center. They become overactive, flooding him with short bursts of pleasure that mask the deeper emotional pain that he was struggling with. He hadn't just crossed the line. In my mind, he entered into a tunnel of sorts. At first, the tunnel looks bright to people in this position. It promises relief, excitement, control. But every step deeper dims the light behind you. The further down you go, the harder it is to see the truth or to dig yourself back out. It becomes almost impossible to feel anything real at all the deeper into the tunnel you go. That's what happens when the brain starts using secrecy and pleasure as self soothing. The dopamine high becomes a quick fix for the internal chaos that's actually caused by it all. The more he repeated it, the more those neural pathways strengthened, convincing his brain that hiding, lying, and chasing novelty were legitimate ways to offset his stress. Affairs, most times, they're not even about the other person. They're about the person who is in the affair. They're trying to escape their own brain dysregulation. Inside this tunnel, logic fades. That's why I call it the narcissistic bubble. The prefrontal cortex, it's the region responsible for impulse control and judgment. Well, it becomes highly suppressed. We know this. Research supports this on brain scans. The amygdala becomes hypersensitive, and the reward circuits, they keep firing, trapping the person in a loop of avoidance, shame, and pleasure seeking. Even after he confessed or agreed with what she had found, and he said he was sorry and he was done, his brain was still wired for that avoidance and pleasure seeking. Rebuilding trust required more than just this transparency. It required rewiring his reward system from secrecy and pleasure seeking back toward connection. Through brain mapping, we could see it clearly. His high beta waves were elevated. They were jacked up in the prefrontal cortex. That led to overthinking and anxiety. He also showed decreased alpha coherence. This means that his ability to get and stay calm was limited. So, within my unique neurofeedback program, because thankfully I have developed specialized protocols working with thousands of men who struggle with hypersexuality, he began to retrain these rhythms. He was able to lower hyperarousal, restore balance between emotional and executive function networks. And slowly he could learn to stay present without retreating into that tunnel again. This is not just a behavior change that I'm talking about. It's true neuroregulation in action. It's his brain finding its way back out of that tunnel into the light. So for months, their healing was not linear. It was filled with setbacks and silence, tears that didn't match the moment. But through consistent nervous system work, breathing, coaching, brain training, and honest accountability, they began to reestablish something called interoception, the body's ability to feel and interpret internal signals of safety. As that improved, so did empathy between them. The circuits in the brain that are responsible for empathy and compassion, the anterior cingulate cortex and the insula, they were able to fire up again and attune. When trust began to rebuild, it wasn't just emotional. It was true neurological proof that calm and connection had returned to each one of them individually, which allowed it to return to them as a couple. Healing trust when it's broken isn't about going back to how things were. It can't be. It's about creating a new map forward, one built on awareness, accountability, and nervous system safety. When your brain stops confusing vigilance with love, when your body no longer braces every time they walk away, that's when you'll know that trust isn't fragile anymore, that it's been earned. So, thank you for joining me for another true story on how people can truly build, I was going to say rebuild, but build the relationship they want and they deserve out of the ashes sometimes. This is real people, and this is how real healing happens through neuroscience. So, stay sane until next time, and I'll see you then.